600 wins, 6 Georgia State Championships, 16 regional championships, 2-time National Coach of the Year, first team from Georgia to win the City of Palms Classic, the nation's #1 high school tournament, first team in Georgia history to attend the Dick's Sporting Goods National Tournament of Championships. He's produced numerous NBA players and professional basketball players all over the world. It's real basketball talk. It's real help and real life with Coach Doug Lipscomb on the BG Podcast Network. Real Life Basketball is brought to you by the all-new 2018 K900 at Carriage Kia of Woodstock and Gainesville. Buy your new K900 from Carriage Kia and we'll fly you in or come pick you up for delivery. Visit CarriageKia.com 24/7, 365 days a year. For America's best deal on the K900, call Chris Stanford directly at 1-866-333-2122. That's 1-866-333-2122.
And welcome to Real Life Basketball. Darren Sutherland here with the legend Doug Lipscomb, the producer Nick Paparelli. Nick, Doug's out of the room right now getting some water or coffee or something, doing something. I don't know what he's doing, but you know what? We've got an interview coming up with Bruce Pearl here in just a second, the Auburn coach. And, Nick, I'm not even going to let you come in the room since you're an Alabama guy when Bruce is in here. Is that okay?
That sounds good. I don't think I have many nice words to say to the defending SEC Championship head coach.
You know what? Let me say this about the defending SEC head coach. He's won in 10 years in the SEC. Okay, he's coached in the SEC for 10 years. 6 years at Tennessee and 4 years at Auburn. You know how many SEC championships he's won?
I want to say 1, but I'm guessing I'm wrong.
You're wrong, 4. He's the second quickest coach in America in Division I to 300 wins, which is unbelievable when you think of all the great coaches to go to 300 wins. When you think of Bobby Knight, when you think of Mike Krzyzewski, when you think of John Calipari, when you think of Rick Pitino, when you think of, Raleigh Massimino, when you think of Jay Wright with Villanova that just won the national championship. Well, Roy Williams was the quickest. He's the first. But when you think of the schools Roy was at, I think me or you could have been the first. Roy was at Kansas, and then he was at North Carolina. So that's a pretty good pedigree to win 300 games pretty quick.
Yeah, that's pretty easy coaching when you have 5-star after 5-star after 5-star.
6 stars, 7 stars, 8 stars.
All the stars, yeah, I got you.
When you have all the stars. That's right, Nick. I mean, he's got all the stars. But let's see. Bruce coached at Milwaukee. Woo. Was it the Bucks with the Greek freak? No.
Not at all.
But he made his name up there. 3 seasons there. He coached 9 years at Southern Indiana and won the Division II national championship. 9 or 10 years, I can't remember. But went to the Division II playoffs about every single year he was there. Went to Milwaukee, then went to Tennessee. Do you realize he never – I don't think there was ever a season where he lost that he didn't win 20 games when he was at Tennessee?
I can't believe that, especially since Tennessee hasn't beat Alabama in
let me
15 years.
Yeah, let me see here. Tennessee hadn't beat Alabama in how many years in men's basketball?
Not in men's basketball and football.
Man, we ain't talking football. Bless your heart. Let's see. Tennessee, looking at the stats, 21 and I can't even – here, look at it, Nick. Tell me what it is right here. I can't even got my glasses on. What is it? There you go.
Tennessee 22-8, 24-11, 31-5, 21-13, 28-9, and 19-15.
That means Bruce Pearl's a heck of a recruiter. That was at Tennessee.
That's also that's averaging over 20 wins. That's more than impressive.
That's more than when you look at that, it's more than impressive. Doug, where you at? Come on in here. Let's get in here. But anyway, that's an awesome record there. And then in Auburn, he took over an Auburn program that really, Nick, I'm not talking bad about the players that are currently there, but Auburn's had 2 basketball players really in the history of the school that can be mentioned. That are all-stars, NBA, one NBA superstar and one NBA all-star.
Yeah, I can only think of one.
Who's that?
It's terrible. It's Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley. Chuck Pearson.
Chuck Pearson, yeah.
Chuck Pearson, and I'm sure we're missing some, and there's going to be some Auburn Tiger War Eagle Plainsman fans out there that said, what about so-and-so? There was this, and he played for the Dallas Mavericks when they were, you know what? We don't remember their name. So anyway, but Bruce Pearl has done a great job. Even this year, his best player, Austin Wiley, gets suspended, okay? He still wins the SEC Championship when he wasn't expected to win the SEC Championship.
He was expected to finish, I think, 13th.
Yeah, something like that. And he wins the SEC. So, who knows, man? Who knows? But all I've got to say is Alabama's getting great Georgia players. Auburn's getting great Georgia players. Look at what Rick Barnes did at Tennessee this year. Look at what Mr. Martin's doing over at South Carolina in the SEC. Look at what Florida's doing. And meanwhile, the Georgia Bulldogs are doing nothing.
They're hiring someone else from Indiana.
That's right, Tom Crane. So anyway, maybe we'll get Tom on before long, get Georgia program in.
I think it would help.
But anyway, here comes Doug. Let's take a break, take it from Carriage Automotive Group and hear what they got to say this afternoon. Then we'll get into our interview with Bruce Pearl. But, hey, congratulations, Colin Sexton, before we go any further, declaring for the NBA draft. Nick, is he going to make an impact in the NBA, you think?
I think he's going to make a big impact. When the lights are brightest, that's when he performs.
He is a player. He is a player. And, I was talking to somebody from the Alabama Alumni Association the other day. They knew he was a one and done. They knew it from day one. So, you know what? Coach Avery Johnson's done a good job over there.
Yeah.
I heard Avery say in an interview on Jock's radio in Birmingham the other day, give me every one and done you can. I'll take them all.
If they bring championships, I'm fine with it.
One and dones ain't winning championships right now. Look at what Villanova's done. We'll talk about that with Doug in just a little bit. Here's a message from Carriage Automotive Group, then on to Bruce Pearl right here on, what's the name of our show? Real Life Basketball. I can't even remember, Nick. Here we go.
Come see the Carriage family and experience the Carriage difference.
Kia is keeping it real with the all-new 2018 K900. Drive the car LeBron James drives and other NBA players call their preferred vehicle of choice. And right now, Carriage Kia of Woodstock and Gainesville has your new K900 ready for delivery. Go online, handle everything, then upon completion, we will fly you in to pick up your new K900 or deliver it directly to you. Call Chris Stanford directly at 1-866-333-2122. That's 1-866-333-2122. Ask for Chris Stanford. Carriage Kia, 24/7, 365 days a year at carriagekia.com.
Come see the Carriage family and experience the Carriage difference.
Welcome back to Real Life Basketball. Darren Sutherland and the legend, Coach Doug Lipscomb here this afternoon, and it is our pleasure to have SEC, whether he gets SEC Coach of the Year in my book, Doug, and I know in your book, Bruce Pearl of Auburn University. Coach, how you doing this afternoon?
Gentlemen, it's great to be with the legends.
Hey, you are with the legends, and he knows he's a legend. He thinks he's a legend anyway. But when you put two kids in the NBA in a top 5 or whatever, they went and sent countless kids to college and got players that are doctors and lawyers. Hey, he's done a pretty good job as a high school coach. Don't you think that, Bruce?
I'd say it's more of a minister than just a high school coach. I've been recruiting Coach Lipscomb's programs for many, many years, and I know the kind of young men that he produces. I know what he demands from them both on and off the floor. You can coach them as hard as you love them. And I know Coach Lipscomb has always loved his kids. He's a straight shooter. He's always been 100% straight up, and he is a legend for all those reasons.
Bruce, here. I give every coach that comes on with us, or every player that comes on with us that has a relationship with Doug, their one shot to get back at them for either not providing them with the proper help, getting a Jaylen Brown or something like that. What beef do you have with Coach Lipscomb that you want to just let him know about this morning and to just get it out of the way?
Well, he let me hang around the gym way too long with J.J. Hickson. He tried to tell me, BP, you got no shot at this now. You just don't. And I wouldn't listen to him. I just thought, look, I'm going to grind, and we got a great spot for him, and But but I tell you what, JJ went on and had a great career, and I tell you what, he was also not a guy that I think in high school was somebody that you would definitely look at and say, this guy's going to be a pro. But he became one. So I got no beef with Coach. Coach tried to tell me I was wasting my time. I just didn't listen to him.
Well, Coach, thank you very much for the compliments. But now let me tell you this, and let me say this first and foremost. As far as having enthusiasm, you are one of the most enthusiastic people that I've ever been around. And I personally consider you a friend. And the job that you do is second to none. Of course, you were my candidate for Coach of the Year. And that's for a lot of reasons, not only basketball, but dealing with the things outside of basketball and still keeping your head up, keeping your guys, staying together. That was really, really good. I really enjoyed watching you play this year.
Well, Coach, I appreciate that. And I think, just from a standpoint of the listeners, what we're talking about is there's a lot of noise that are coming from the outside. Whether you're a high school coach or a college coach, you're dealing with parents and you're dealing with other AAU coaches, and everybody thinks that they're smarter than you are, and being a basketball coach is almost like owning a barbecue restaurant. Everybody's got their own special sauce. Everybody smokes some ribs a time or two, and they all think they can do it better than you can. And so there was a lot of noise, but I worry about what I can control. And for us, we focused on our players, and you can coach them as hard as you love them. And I say that all the time, and I love my players. Sometimes I can't even talk about them without even getting emotional because I ask so much out of them, and they've got to put up with me, both my strengths and my weaknesses. But you know what, Coach, you're right. To win the SEC this year, when there were 14 really good teams, bottom to top, the top may not have been as strong as what it has been in some other years if Kentucky or Texas A&M or Florida were our most talented teams. But you look at the job that Tennessee did and Rick Barnes, and you look what we did at Auburn. We came to play almost every single night. The kids played hard. They played together. I'd like to think almost of the teams that were at the Final Four. Your Kansases and Villanovas and Michigans and Loyola, those teams played a lot like Tennessee and Auburn. And Tennessee and Auburn were the two teams that stood out on top at the end of the regular season in the SEC.
No doubt, Coach. Coach, just to go ahead and let all the listeners know, and we'll want to hear it from the quote-unquote, this Southern slang word right here, we want to hear it from the horse's mouth. What's up with Austin Wiley? What's going to happen? Is he coming back? Is he committing? Is he coming back to Auburn? What's the situation?
Well, here's the situation, and I think this would be the same for everybody on a roster. I've got 4 or 5 guys that I think would like to try to test the waters and see at least go through the process. Now, Austin Wiley, of all the players, is the one that you would expect could get drafted and will get drafted. So what you should do is you got to look at, okay, where will he get drafted? What are they saying? Well, right now they're saying end of the second round. Now, Austin, I know, can play his way up 10, 15 picks. Easy, maybe even more. And I think he could work his way out maybe even into the first round. If he could go first round, then all of a sudden that's a different level of guaranteed money. And so what we do is you go through the process. You put your name in, you do your workouts, you might get invited to the combine, and then you see what happens. And one good thing about what the NBA is right now, in fact, Sharif he's kind of in charge of that, part of the committee, the basketball advisory group, that's going to let us know, okay, where do you think he's going to go? And so, you know what? We will not know until late May. Where these guys are going to go. And so we always make better decisions when we get more information. Right now, we don't have enough information to even begin to know whether or not Austin or Mustafa, or Bryce or any of the guys are going to try and test the waters where they should stay in or they should pull their name out. And all they're going to do is declare for the draft. Don't mess with an agent right now, and follow some rules, and they keep their eligibility so they can return to college next year.
No doubt. And let's just say this, Coach. We've been on your side the whole entire time through this Austin Wiley situation, and we won't rehash it because we've talked about it in shows gone before. But I'm a firm believer if you'd have had Mr. Wiley, your season would have looked a whole lot different. And not that it didn't look bad. You had a great, great year. But I think, adding a player of that caliber, where could Auburn had truly ended up? So, Doug, what you got?
Well, what I want to tell Coach is that a lot of people don't realize this, but our information says you're the second coach behind Roy Williams to reach 300 victories in your career. And with that success, like you say, sometimes we can't worry about things we can't control. But I know you as far as your dedication to the game, and it always seems like somebody wants to find a bad rap on you. And let me explain something to you. I can't honestly say this. I've not ever seen another coach take his shirt off, paint his body a certain color, and go hang out with the student body. That's pretty dynamic right there, Coach.
Doug, I don't know. I'm a big target. I got a big mouth. I was not supposed to be where I'm at. I wasn't a great player, but I practiced at Boston College and I worked my way up. And I've always sort of been a bit of an underdog. And people will look at me and go, golly, how in the world is that guy, still here? How did he survive Tennessee? How did he get the Tennessee program turned around? And let me tell you something. We do the very best job we possibly can to do it the right way. And I surround my players with really good coaches and really good people. I've got Auburn was a place that started FCA, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and God is in my locker every day, and He's using me to do things that I just couldn't do by myself, and I'm in service to Him. And you know what? Sometimes people that are doing that, we come under attack, and it's not because we're perfect. We make mistakes, but it just sort of works out that way, man. I don't care. Let me tell you something we're doing at Auburn. 17 out of 18 of our players have graduated. We have turned around the academic performance rating. We win the community service awards, not the women's softball team or some other team that isn't like football or basketball based. It's Auburn basketball. And you know what? That's all the stuff that I matter. And I would say one other thing. I don't care what everybody thinks. I really don't. I care what Doug Lipscomb thinks. I care what certain people think, people that I do respect. But the rest of the noise, I can't control that stuff. I just go about my job. I grind, and they'll say what they're going to say.
Coach, one person I know from watching you on TV that you respect, and we call the show Real Life Basketball because we don't want to talk about the typical things ESPN talks about. We want to talk about real life basketball. One of the people I know you respected just by watching you on TV was the late Pat Head Summit at Tennessee. Can you give us a little bit about y'all's relationship at Tennessee? I mean, one of the coolest things I ever saw was when you showed up in the student section without your shirt on, with your stomach painted orange. That was one of the greatest marketing tools I've ever seen a head coach do. And this is coming from a marketing guy. So tell us about that relationship.
Well, the thing about it is, like, when I was at Tennessee, I was there with Philip Fulmer and Pat Summitt, and they were both absolute legends. And the one thing I wanted to try to do was see if I could earn their respect. And again, going back to what matters about, not everybody, but just two. Mm-hmm. And so one thing about Coach Summitt is, she wasn't going to judge me early, but she was going to take her time. And so she came and watched me practice. She watched me work with people. She evaluated. And you know what? I earned her trust. And then after a period of time, I earned her love. And we were great friends. One thing about Pat, one of the things that many things made her great, but it was also her ability to learn. It was also her ability to continue to grow and ask questions. When you were in a meeting with Pat Summitt, she didn't do a lot of talking. She did a ton of listening, and she asked a lot of questions, and she was always bringing coaches in from the outside so that she herself could grow and she could get better. She saw things in people they didn't see in themselves. Now, listen, here's the deal about Pat Summitt. She created a brand, and the brand was called the Lady Vols. And like when you signed up for that, she never had to apologize for anything she ever made her ladies go through. because she was going to make sure you're going to be the best you could be, whether you liked it or not. And don't complain to me about having to do this, that, or the other thing on or off the court. Because, girl, I told you what this was going to be like, and you signed up for this. I didn't beg you to come play at Tennessee. This is something you said you wanted, so here it is. And that was part of the brilliance of who she was and what she did. And it was just so sad to see her, leave us too soon because of Alzheimer's and dementia. And the scariest thing about it was Pat's grandmother was diagnosed with the same disease she eventually passed on when her grandmother was 59. Pat was a young woman, and she was old enough to see her grandma go. And that was so hard because Pat knew what was happening to her when it was happening to her.
Wow. That's the kind of stuff that you don't get anywhere else except right here on Real Life Basketball, folks. Insight like that. Coach, tell us a little bit about your Division II experience. We've talked to a lot of D2 coaches over the time, folks like Jim Boone at Delta State. You were at Southern Indiana, had some great success there over 9 years. Tell us about how that helped you move up the ladder and work into where you're at now.
Well, you know what? I think everybody worries about, where they are and their path and making the right decision and getting the right job and everything. Look, do the work, do the best you can with what you got. Sometimes the best job in the country is the one you got. And so you better take that job and run with it and jump in with both feet. And if you're someplace that you don't think you want to be, don't have one foot in the water. Put both feet in the water. Do a great job with it, because if you don't, you're not going to do a great job with it. And then you let God just decide what's happening next. I mean, He's got a plan for you. And so whether it's Division II or no matter where you are in life, jump in with both feet and own it. And so, anyways, for me, being a young assistant that had coached under Tom Davis, I just took what he learned, what he taught me. Are you any good at anything? Are you any good at anything? Chances are you had a great teacher. I had a great teacher in Tom Davis. I took what he taught me. I ran with it. I cut my teeth on it, and we did well. And then just put myself in position to then be able to go to the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee, have a one shining moment there, and got to the NCAA tournament a couple of times at a mid-major. And then, obviously, Tennessee came calling, and the rest is history. And, one of the things that I'm really, really proud of is that at the end of the day, no matter where I've been, no matter what level we've been at, we've won championships. And I've been in the SEC for 10 years, 6 at Tennessee and 4 at Auburn. And in 10 seasons, we've won 4 championships.
Yeah.
Wow. And so with different players, with different groups at different places. And I'm really, really proud of that. Hey guys, I'm going to answer one more question for you because I'm actually down in Florida right now, and I'm having breakfast with my parents. And it's just a blessing to be able to have my parents still alive and enjoy them. So I'm honored to be on this show.
Yeah.
And because you guys keep it real, you guys do an amazing job. So hit me with one last question, and I'll bid you farewell.
Okay. Before we close, Coach, I just want to thank you for recruiting Georgia, because you're putting us on the map, and continue to do that. We wish you continued success. And I want you to just one last question, Coach. I've gotten my tail beat before, and I couldn't wait for the buzzer to go off. But the man of integrity that you are, tell us what you told your kids after the Clemson game.
Well, you know what? I won at the end of the game here and ream them out bad, because we laid down the second half, Doug. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and everything. But you know what? We were exhausted. We were undermanned. And we never made an excuse. That's one thing that was really important, is that we never made an excuse. When we got down to 9 guys, we got down to 8 guys. So let's not make any excuses right now. We got run out the gym. And at the end of the game, we did not represent. At the same time, that did not take away one thing away from our championship, not one thing. Great. And I talked to Coach Malzahn about this, and you read anything about Bill Walsh's book as far as dealing with success, or Belichick. Look, we ain't defending no championship. That championship's in a book. Coach, you know what that's like. Nobody's won more championships than you. That is old final score. Now it's about, they ain't defending nothing. Now it's about, let's see if we can do it with a new group and another group. And so we're not going to celebrate it too long, but they can never take it away from us.
Bruce, we appreciate your time. We have something good to eat with your parents down there. Have a great day in Florida. We're going to touch base with you before the season starts and have fun on the recruiting trails this summer and spring. Thank you, boss.
Thank you, Coach. Hey, call me if you need anything. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Absolutely.
Bye.
Bruce Pearl there on the Carriage Automotive Group Skype this afternoon with Coach Doug Lipscomb and Darren Sutherland. Coach, what's your thoughts? I mean, where are we at? What's your thoughts of that interview?
Well, some things that stuck out. Of course, he spoke about his relationship with God. He also spoke about 17 out of the 18 kids that have been in the program graduated from school. And he also let you know we need to continuously grow and learn from our experiences.
Doug, you know what hit me with that interview? If somebody handed you two programs in the SEC, they handed you Tennessee and they handed you Auburn, and they told you, okay, you've got to win 4 out of 10 SEC championships in 10 years of coaching, what would you think? I mean, honestly, you're a head coach, and you've got to go against the Kentuckys, the Alabamas, the Texas A&Ms, the LSUs, the Georgias, the Vanderbilts, Mississippi States, Floridas, who've won national championship. You're handed 2 schools. You're handed Auburn and you're handed Tennessee, and they say to you, you've got to win 4 SEC championships. What would you say?
I'd say that'd be extremely hard, but let's go back now. I don't think they told him he had to.
Oh, no, they didn't tell him he had to. I'm just prefacing it, saying, man, what if you did have to?
Yeah, I mean, and I tell you, things like that, I don't know if they still exist, but about 25 years ago, a principal told me, you got 2 years to win the region. And I'm like, they were 4-20. And I'm like, what he? Oh, okay. And that was his expectations, of course. Mine were always high. But in looking at Bruce, his track record speaks for itself. He's been very successful everywhere he's gone.
You know, he said this because, and I can acknowledge this because I'm a marketing guy and I'm a big mouth guy, and I have to make apologies from time to time for stuff. And Bruce is no different. What makes you good sometimes makes you bad.
Most definitely.
And I mean, Bruce is a heck of a recruiter. Look at the players he got. He sat there and he admitted, hey, I hung around your gym too long trying to get J.J. Hickson when you told me I didn't have a chance. But see, that's what makes him good. He doesn't give up. If you look at his pedigree, he was a walk-on at Boston College. I mean, he spent 6 years as an assistant coach, there at Stanford and then in Iowa, took the job at Southern Indiana, spent 10 years as head coach there, went to a small division. Most people don't even know University of Milwaukee even exists. You follow me? Went there, had success there in the NCAA and NIT, then took the job at Tennessee and did things with the men's program at Tennessee that hadn't been done in a long time. Won 20 games every year he was there. Now, for those out there that's saying to us, well, why didn't you ask him questions about the NCAA investigation? Well, you know what? The man paid his price for what he done wrong, and he admitted what he done wrong. So that's good to say. But he has done nothing but win. He's the second fastest coach to 300 victories behind Roy Williams. And by the way, Roy did it with Kansas and North Carolina. Doug, if you're a head coach, I'm gonna just be straight with you, Doug. And we've got Roy coming on in coming weeks, and this is no slouch to Roy because Roy earned those jobs. Okay, Roy was an assistant at North Carolina and then went to Kansas, took the head coaching job, and then finally went back home to North Carolina. He's earned those jobs. But if somebody said to you, Doug Lipscomb, tomorrow you're starting your Division I head coaching career, okay, would you take the route of Kansas and North Carolina to win 300 games quick, or would you take the route of Milwaukee, Tennessee, Auburn to win 300 games?
Well, I would take the Kansas route simply because it's giving me more opportunities to get the players that we think we're going to need to be successful.
Exactly.
But one thing that always sticks out to me about Bruce, he's family-oriented. Of course, he's God-oriented. But when he grew up, it wasn't easy. I mean, so he grew up like a lot of kids that I know and like a lot of my friends. But there's one thing that he did say just now was that he was with his parents down in Florida.
Yeah.
Getting breakfast and stuff.
That's right.
So, I mean,
That's right.
I like that.
Another great show. Another great day here on Real Life Basketball. The hits just keep on coming. We promise to get you more and more coaches here in the off season to talk to. And, who are we going to have to get, Coach? Let's just throw some names out there that we want to get. And let's just call them out and say, hey, we want you to be a part of the show. Maybe they'll hear the show. Who would you say you want to talk to?
I want to talk to Roy. He's coming up. Roy Williams, he's coming up. I definitely want to speak to Kevin Boyle down at Mount Verd for winning the national championship for the 4th time, I think. Yeah. So he can give us insight on the success and how he continues to do that. Who you want to talk to, Coach?
You know what? If I had a wish list, I'd have to start with Coach K at the top.
Okay.
Mike Krzyzewski. I don't know if we can make that happen.
And right after him?
Right after Coach K, I'd like to talk Chris Mack at Louisville, the new Louisville coach. I was a fan of his at Xavier, thought he did an extremely great job. I mean, and we've got to mention this, Coach. We would be remiss if we didn't say we wanted to try to get Jay Wright from Villanova on before it was all said and done.
Jay Wright.
I mean, Jay has done something. If you think about it, folks, Villanova is not a large school, okay? He has done something at Villanova that Raleigh Massimino never did it. I mean, he's won 2 national championships. He's put himself in the Hall of Fame.
Well, Raleigh won 1.
Raleigh won 1. He beat Georgetown.
Okay.
He beat Georgetown with Ed Pinckney and the guys. But Donald, who else was it? The Wingate boys was on that team back in the day. But I'd like to talk to him. I mean, heck, I'd like to get Patrick Ewing from Georgetown on here. Who knows who we can get, Coach? We'll work on it. Off season, a little bit easier to get people on this thing, and we'll probably pick up a little bit more NBA talk in the coming weeks too, as the playoffs start getting around. Talking about, I will say this: Nick's not here today, but we were all correct on the Villanova pick.
Oh yeah,
we were all correct. I mean, did they not just show out and whoop?
Well, that's one of the best teams that I've seen in a long time.
Here's what I liked about them. They did it without the one-and-done kids. They did it with kids that have been there year after year after year after year. So they've done extremely well. Had some fifth-year seniors. And I think that's going to cause some coaches and some programs to reevaluate their thought processes.
Oh, they're already ahead of the game.
Yeah. Think about this. We all know Coach K's got 3 superstars coming in as freshmen, okay? But how many of those guys does Michigan have coming back that was on that team last night? How many of those guys from Villanova are coming back? How many of those guys from Kansas State are coming back? How many of those kids from Loyola Chicago are coming back? Don't count just because they got superstar R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson on the top of their head. Let's not forget the kids that have taken the train as a team and been there. Wouldn't you agree, Coach?
I definitely agree. And I'm going to tell you like this, that kid that's going to North Carolina with the last name Little, he's going to be very, very special. Yeah,
no doubt. No doubt. Well, it's been fun, Coach. Thanks once again for getting us, Bruce Pearl, on the air. We'll continue to work hard. We'll see you next time. You got anything else you want to throw out there, Coach?
Hey, have a blessed day.
Have a blessed day. You're exactly right. And remember, you're listening to Real Life Basketball with Darren Sutherland and Doug Lipscomb, a product of the BG Ad Group Network. Thank you.
Thank you.